Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Women of Startup Nation. We are entering the third week of the war in Iran, and we had, I think, 2 or 3 sirens last night. So I apologize if we're a little bit tired and sloppy, but we're resilient and we do what we can. Today we have a very, very special guest, Adeena Sussman. She is an acclaimed food writer, co-author and author of more than 15 cookbooks. And I think she's the one who really put the spotlight on Israeli food all over the world. She's the author of Sababa and Shabbat, and she's coming out with a new book she'll tell us soon about. And it's really, really an honor to have you with us. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies, for having me. I know you from many other places. Tel Aviv is a small town, but it's nice to be here to chat with you.
Adeena is actually, if you walk around Tel Aviv in the Shuka Carmel area, you're very likely to bump into her, buying food or trying new places. And her Instagram page is actually a great source of information of the coolest and new places where to hang out in Tel Aviv. So thank you, Adeena, for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you also for hosting Otto.
Otto and we're in the same color wheel.
Exactly.
So I'm thrilled.
So, what brought you from New York to Tel Aviv? What's your journey? What's your story?
Well, I have a lifelong relationship with Israel. I grew up in a very Israel-centric home in Palo Alto, California. And I met my husband, Jay, about 12 years ago, and we got married in Tel Aviv 9 years ago. So I say I moved to Israel for love and I stayed for the food.
That's
Very
great,
good
actually.
point.
I still in love, but
But
I'm also, my absorption, my klita into Israeli culture was through the lens of food, because that's my language and how I communicate and how I connect with the world and other people. So, moved into the Shuk area, and just immediately immersed myself. And I already had, been writing about Israeli food and wine for a long time, but, once I got here, it really became part of my identity, and people were watching. It surprised me how many people were interested in what I was cooking here and where I was going in the shuk. And, this was, 11 years ago. So it seems like light years away in terms of how people perceive Israel, both for better and for worse. Mm-hmm. And, I knew that I had an opportunity to show a different side of Israel, not through a political lens or a religious lens, through something very authentic to me. And I connected with the people watching and they connected with me, and then we just kept on going.
I think it's amazing because you're another example, and I think we interviewed a few before, of Olot Chadashot, of new immigrants that moved to Israel, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the spirit of the startup nation
For sure.
pushed you to an incredible journey and to a lot of success.
I think Israel's a place, you feel like anything's possible.
Yeah.
You see the way people open restaurants here, or, in America, people have business plans and they spend years building and conceiving and planning. And here it's very much the entrepreneurial spirit. People throw things against the wall and see what sticks, or they're living in beta, as we say in the tech world.
It's nice.
And everything I do, I'm trying not to have it be too over polished and overproduced. I try to I think it is in the spirit of Startup Nation. And, I think everyone here, whatever they're doing, is done through a lens of let's experiment, let's keep trying, let's collaborate, let's see what works. And I think it definitely is something that gave me a feeling of freedom allowed me to see where it went without worrying too much about the outcome.
Yeah.
talking about outcome, this is just the beginning. There is a new project, but
would you believe this is all in the last 6.5 years?
That's amazing.
I'm such a late bloomer. I'm 54. I got married at 45, became a grandma at 46. We call it the single to softa plan. I skipped the having kids part, but have amazing stepkids.
much better.
And, also my first book baby was born, my own book when I was
first
48,
baby was
Sababa.
Sababa, right?
Yeah. And then Shabbat came out, 4 years later.
I know that you have to tell us a lot about the new book, but
Yeah, we can
can you
talk.
tell in a few words
Sure.
about the first
Yeah.
and second baby?
Sure. Sababa is really, I wanted to really decode Israeli cuisine for American audiences and show people how they could use and make all the staple ingredients and make it their pantry, and there were a lot of books out there about Israeli food, but they were more done through the lens of a professional restaurant chef. And I'm really like a very proud home cook, and everything I do is for home cooks.
Yeah, I think also the word Sababa tells a lot about Israeli culture.
Yeah. So, I wanted, I hate buying something and then using it for one recipe and then having it go to waste. So like I taught people how to use silan or pomegranate molasses or preserve lemons in many different ways. And of course, tahina, which rhymes with my name. So of course, and it was really also the story of the shuk. There are pictures of the vendors that I love who are like family members, pictures on my wedding day. We took pictures in the shuk. And, I feel like it's also a historical document because these are businesses that might not last another generation. And I had the privilege of telling the stories of the vendors. And each of my books has that element of trying to capture both my life in that moment and what's going on around me at that moment in Israel, and to expand sort of the Venn diagram of like all my identities, like my cooking identity, my Israeli, my Jewish, my all the things,
Also the complexity of the Jewish identity, because I think that what Shabbat is amazing, that it
Yeah.
also tells a lot about the diaspora of the Jew.
Yeah, Shabbat was, I realized that 80% of Israelis, celebrate this holiday it's like a national holiday that's celebrated every Friday. In America, if you make a dinner party, you get like a gold medal. Like here, everyone makes a dinner party every Friday night. And I wanted to sort of bring that cultural aspect and sort of show people what that's about, and also how rich the diasporic Jewish food experience is, and how all these different communities from all over the world landed here and brought these amazing traditions with them, whether it was because of persecution abroad or aliyah like mine, and it's funny because I wrote this book before October 7th, and, so many of the stories had the line in them, her parents left insert country because they were persecuted. And at the time I took it out a couple of times because it seemed repetitive. And now I wish I had left it all in, because really that is our story is just people coming here because they needed a place to go and they needed a place to call home. And I'm so proud that I get to share their stories here, and so that's what I love to do,
Yeah. And wait, speaking of October 7th, where did it catch you?
I was on book tour for Shabbat. I was in New York, and it was Simchat Torah. I was at my sister's house in New Jersey, and I woke up in the middle of the night for some reason, and it was at like 2 a.m. or 1:30. It was like 8:30 in Israel, and I checked my phone and just, we all know what happened from there. And I really wondered what was going to happen with this book tour. And I had many stops left, and I thought everyone would cancel, but in fact, the opposite was true. Like American Jews really were feeling lost and needing a connection to each other and to Israel. So my events continued, and it was hard in some ways, but also very, like, I felt like I was both supporting and being supported by my community, and it was very meaningful. And I came back to Israel in the middle of November, middle to end of November, when obviously, we still had, almost 200 hostages in Gaza, and, and then my whole thing changed. My Instagram became about supporting here and showing what was going on in Israel and the food community, and trying to help the food community and also show how the food community was helping Israel. Because, restaurateurs became incredible centers of feeding and helping, and millions of meals just straight out of the goodness of their heart on volunteers, and also trying to show all the businesses that were affected, especially on the Gaza envelope, and help them get back on their feet and just show people their resilience and what was going on. So none of this is things that I plan in advance. It's just like I go with what's going on and what I can do and what feels right to me. Coming home, it wasn't right away. What the idea wasn't to create just fun cooking videos. Like that wasn't the vibe, as they say.
Yeah.
Not right away. But also people need to cook, and we all need to be in the kitchen, and cooking is therapeutic. And I always say that the kitchen is my safe room. Like that's really the place that I feel comforted and secure and nourished, and be able to nourish other people. So yeah.
So talking about safe room, for who is not in Israel right now, get ready, because every second might be a siren, and we will have to move to the
You
safe
never
room.
know. We had 3 last night, or 4.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I stopped counting. Yeah, we stopped counting. But
We all look. I think we all look pretty good. Come on, give yourself.
Yeah.
Considering the night we had.
But so this is the question.
Yeah.
How this new war, because it's funny,
Yeah.
we have a war inside the war. We stopped counting also how many wars
Yeah.
inside the war between Lebanon and Iran. But now specifically, we're in the middle of Iran war. Our life is really next to the shelter.
Yeah.
But still, you didn't give up about all your amazing projects. Soon we're going to talk about the new book. But how you feel really even cooking is part of the culture of the Israeli culture of resilience. In a way.
mean, I went to the shuk the morning after the war started, and there were people there selling food, and I was buying it. And we had friends who were stuck here from LA and who moved in with us, and I just immediately started cooking. And you see on social media, and also just with Purim, I think one of the beautiful things about Jewish life is that the calendar of holidays keeps you moving forward at all times. There's always something that you are looking forward to, that you're marking, and a lot of that has a food element to it. And myself as well, all of a sudden I was like, it's a war, but I need to make hamantashen, and so I did, and it went viral just because I think everyone wanted to make hamantashen. Everyone wanted to do something. And sometimes we need help. I mean, I took my own old recipe and kind of tweaked it a little bit and just made it and put it on my Substack newsletter. But yeah, I think, one of the things I love about food in Israel is that many ingredients are connected to the Jewish calendar. Like when you ask in America in the farmer's market, when are pomegranates ripe, they say the beginning of October. And here in the shuk, they say Rosh Hashanah. Mm-hmm. And the same is true of many holidays and with produce and different foods that we make. And for me, that tapestry of how it all weaves together is what's so beautiful. And that doesn't stop when the war is happening. Pesach is in 2 weeks, and we're all still need to make seder or figure out what we're doing for our meal. And for me, that is like an engine that keeps me going. And I think that I think I speak for the whole nation. I think everyone feels that way. And that whether that means you're ordering food or going somewhere or eating at a restaurant, we're trying to, restaurants are open. We're trying to support our local economy.
There is a new app that show you.
I want this.
Absolutely. Israeli are always startup nation.
Exactly.
Every kind of aspect of
you can go out, you can get drunk, but just make sure that you're close to a shelter.
Exactly.
I wanted to ask you something because obviously Shabbat, it's about Jewish food, and it's both Sephardi and Ashkenazi.
Yes.
But also there is so much about Israeli food that it's Arab, that it's Druze, that it's Bedouin. And
all of it.
And it's amazing. And it's also, I think, amazing to see. I mean, I work with a lot of Arab Israelis here, and it's amazing to see the people have no idea what it is like to be here. They just think.
No, I mean, Sababa book has a lot of Palestinian recipes, Bedouin, Druze. I cooked with all kinds of people, and I don't think it's controversial to talk about the fact that many of these foods come from here, and that Jewish cooks were influenced by local Palestinian, Bedouin, Druze, Arab Israeli cooks. And I also feel like it's a way to take some of the electricity out of these arguments. Absolutely. Is to just acknowledge, kanafa. We adopted kanafa. We didn't create it, and that's fine. That's food all over the world.
Yeah,
food all over the world blends. I mean, you Italian ladies, Americans like to now, I think they think pizza is American at this point, but we all know.
Well, the way they make pizza in America,
Sorry.
You can take credit for that.
But yeah, so I just try to tell it like it is.
It is, but because what Fiamet and I often spoke about is that, first of all, people don't understand that Israel has so many cultures, and it's
So many.
unlike, unfortunately, what's going on sometimes, not sometimes, most of the times in Europe or other places, there is no real integration. While if you look a little bit deeper here, there is so much overlapping of cultures and food. Yes, there is tension sometimes. We're not like La La Land.
No.
However, everything is out in the open. And
I always talk about with trina, for instance. So like 100% of the best trina in Israel is made by Palestinians, and most of it is bought by Israeli Jews, right? Just because of, right? And so it's like one of these examples of cultural and culinary and commercial coexistence that happens every day, like tens of thousands of times a day. Someone's buying a jar of trina that was made one place and bought another, and made by and everyone has their favorite brands, and they talk about the one with the dove and the one with the cedar tree, and there's Arabic on the label, and no one understands, but like it just all blends together. And I think that is what gets lost in translation when you're abroad. And even for someone like me who thought she understood the culture, coming to Israel and seeing that, during Ramadan, the shuk is like 30% empty because many of the people who work in the shuk are observing Ramadan. And on Easter, there are Coptic Christians with charcoal crosses on their foreheads. And there are people from all cultures and all places who are working and living and eating and sharing together. And, for me, that's so much more interesting than, not only is this place like my home and my homeland, but it's also a fascinating place to do what I do and to constantly be learning myself and, and trying to decode that for other people.
True. So true.
By the way, talking about learning from the market.
Yeah.
Since we're hopefully getting close to election day, every time that I have to cover election day, I go to Shuk HaKarmel to interview people.
I'm sure.
And the best is to interview the Arab sellers in the Shuk.
Yeah.
And finding out that some of them are voting also for Netanyahu.
Of course.
So I always say that if you want to learn about Israeli culture, there is nothing like going to Shuk
and don't make
HaKarmel.
assumptions about people based upon, we don't want people to make assumptions about us as Jews. Yeah. And the same goes for all people in all places. And it's a great lesson to remember. You're absolutely right.
So tell us a little bit about your next project.
Dun, 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 dun.
So this is Zariz. Zariz means quick in Hebrew. And I wrote this book in the year after October 7th. And I realized that I needed simple cooking for complicated times. And, it's funny because this book and this book almost have the same number of recipes, but this book is like 100 pages smaller because the recipes, I gave myself a challenge of every recipe fitting on one page.
Oh, wow.
And every recipe having 12 or less ingredients, which I call a bat mitzvah of ingredients. And, I always say now that I learned that, creating simple recipes is very complicated because every ingredient and every technique and every cooking implement has to have impact. It's easy to just throw 1,000 spices and things into a recipe, but when you really need to focus on, it's sort of like the Coco Chanel version of like cooking. It's like she said, you get dressed and then you take off 2 accessories.
Wow.
It's the same with cooking. It's like I constantly trying to look at the recipes and what was really necessary, and is this something that people are going to have in the house, or does it need all the spices? Like my shawarma blend from Sababa has like 9 spices in it, but I do like a shawarma sort of like arayas, open arayas, and it has like 3 spices, and it's delicious. So
less is more.
It makes you realize that you can do a lot with a little, and it's a good lesson in a lot of ways. And it was really fun to create. It was a challenge. And I learned a lot about myself as a cook. And it's coming out in 6 weeks. People can pre-order it now.
We'll add a link to
you
the
can pre-order it at Cafe Tamati or from Pomeranz Books in Jerusalem or anywhere in the world, obviously, that books are sold. And I don't know when you guys are going to post this.
Hopefully today.
Oh, good.
And then it will be really posted when
cool.
you start your book tour, so everybody who missed it can buy it.
Because I also created a special mini cookbook for Pesach.
Ah.
And anyone who pre-orders the book can upload the proof of the pre-order and get this whole 11 recipes.
This is the time to buy the book.
So this is
right
the time.
Pesach.
Yes,
Amazing.
I'll send you all the links so you can share
we
with
will
people.
add everything.
By the way, as you were talking about, taking getting to the bone of the recipes.
Yeah.
I think this is something that actually we spoke about when we had the interview with Antonino.
Right.
That we said that, when I'm not trying to find a silver lining to the war.
Yeah.
Okay. However, for example, for our kids or something, that suddenly when you're taking out of the routine, of the normality of your life, suddenly you get to the bone of things.
Right.
You only do the things that you need to do or that make you feel better. You're suddenly extremely aware on the basic things that are necessary to survive,
essentials,
and to thrive, even because
totally.
you still want to thrive. I mean, we want to live, we want to enjoy, like even if there is a war, we really want to enjoy life at the same time. We don't want to stop it. And I think sort of maybe unconsciously this was also like
for sure. For sure. It's true in every field. You're a writer. It's always editing down to what's essential and what's going to really convey your message the best and also bring joy,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So since we're getting close to the end, we will have you here for a year.
Yeah.
But we usually try to close the episode with a little bit of optimism.
Okay.
Even if it's still kind of war. And also since this podcast started as Woman of Startup Nation, for us it's always very important not only to get a woman point of view, but also to learn more about which Israeli or Jew woman inspire you in your journey.
Sure. I mean, I would say right now, Lucy Acharish is really inspiring me.
Absolutely.
I'm her biggest fan. I keep
For who doesn't know her?
She's an Arab Israeli news broadcaster. She's Muslim. She's married to a Jewish man who's currently on reserve duty. And I've been a huge fan of hers for a long time. I keep trying to slide into her DMs to see if she'll cook something with me, but she hasn't responded. Lucy. And she just, she's very brave. She's been subject to a lot of harassment recently, just for speaking in her own language, which is one of the languages of Israel. And she's very dignified, brave, and brilliant. And I think she's a huge role model for all Israeli women, regardless of their religion.
Very true. We really love it. By the way,
we hope to have her once. Lucy, come to our podcast.
Come to our podcast. We would love to have you.
She's amazing. Yeah.
She's amazing and she's beautiful, which
obviously.
And a mother of a beautiful kid. And I just want to take the opportunity to send her our solidarity for the harassment that she's been going through the last few weeks, especially. So Lucy, we're with us, and also we're behind all women, really, that are brave, that are taking a stand, that are even the women that are just managing to get up.
Just being yourself takes energy, and I'm sure doing it in like she does is extra hard. And women, our mental load is high, as we say. We do a lot that people don't see, and we love our men. We love you guys, but So Lucy is, I would say, the person who is on the top of my list right now.
Amazing. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being with us. We are really looking forward to read.
Thank you.
Well, more than reading to
thank you, ladies. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Adeena. And thank you guys for being with us. If you have questions, feel free to reach out. And we'll keep on giving you updates on what's going on here, and sending you a podcast with amazing Israeli women. And by the way, if you want to join our podcast, feel free to let us know, to write us. We're always looking for amazing women to interview. And yalla, sheyeh shavua tov. Hopefully we'll have a quiet week and good news soon for all of us and all the Middle East. And thank you.
Shavua tov. Thank you, Adeena.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Ciao.
Thank you.